And for older people that do not know how to use computers, there are programs teaching you how to use the computer, so you can take the funds from the library, like for free. Like my school, they bring old people in. They teach them how to use the laptops, the computers, the phones, the iPads, all of that. So we don't really need the libraries anymore, and we have books and we have
you don't need to spend as much money you are there as you are. You could be spending half of that money somewhere else where it's more needed instead of spending.
It goes back to you guys promising. Last time I went to some other conference last week with Marco, and you guys said that you were going to keep the 7 libraries that are here, but you couldn't promise to keep the one. You couldn't promise to keep the one, like the one youth centre, but you could promise to keep the 7 libraries.
Yeah, but we're not going to have the funds that we need.
But you're taking things out of it and claiming that it's enhancing it. Going back to that.
What are we taking out of it?
Well, the people, the
staff.
Segregating the people out.
No, but you don't
sorry, that's what it says in the booklet.
But not all the youth services are working from here.
Yeah, no, but are you aware of how many youth centres are actually open? There's only a couple.
And hardly any young people are aware of this youth centre. And most people come to Bali. And you are trying to cut it and make a reduction of whatever it is. I don't agree with it. And at the end of the day, in terms of enhancement, you guys were talking about, I was thinking about it, and you guys were talking about bringing new people who are from this background and who do performing arts, and all these people already come here. Like, seriously.
So I'm not saying those people would come instead.
I'm not saying instead of, but I'm saying people already come here. That's already a passion.
But also, you can't, the people that work, the people you're talking about, and I know the Atkins and the Marks and stuff like that, and that have been here are really important. You can't expect them to do all the other stuff as well, because they'll be shattered. So there's something about some other staff
So
coming
they
in.
are all out there.
It's already happening.
Exactly.
But not always during the day. There's a lot more time for things during the day and weekends that things go on. I've got a dance group.
So you guys chose to close these days. You guys chose to close these days and close these hours.
Well, I don't know about that.
You said that we're receiving 100,000 in money that's coming into it. So can you guarantee that next year we will have 100,000, or are you cutting that? They can't guarantee us.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, each year it costs about 100,000 to run.
So you're saying, will we have the funds next year
to run everything the same way that we have it now?
We can't promise that everything will be exactly the same from now and into the future. That isn't something that I could stand up and promise, because I don't think that that's necessarily a promise. What we're promising is that we will keep it open and we will try and Kevin's outline things that we can do to bring money into Bruce Grove during the day to contribute to that amount of money we have to spend to keep it open so that we can deliver what you want in the evening.
You've outlined them, but have you actually discussed and said that as soon as the cuts go ahead that we're going to have those here to keep it open?
We have to find the people. We want you to help us that work together to bring people in.
You say you have to find them.
We've already got,
I don't understand why you have to cut all these volunteers there.
We'll go with you next.
My question is, you mentioned third sector organisations coming to Bruce Grove, like MAC. They had 3 years. When the funding for them is cut, what happens to Bruce Grove Youth Centre after?
We hope that after 3 years you work to find something else as well. We can't promise everything right into the future.
I was treasurer of Youth Council. We had budget cuts during that time. I had to outsource like the big lottery fund. Such companies will not fund us because we are linked to the Harringay Council, which is a public body. Also, last year we requested a £20,000 budget, which Councillor Goldberg agreed to, and we clearly stated when Belinda Evans was the head of children's services that we will be going. Sorry, that we will be going on a cross-cultural trip. When the question was put to Councillor Goldberg, he did not respond to any of our emails. And because there was some problem in the service, okay, so that's an inefficiency, cost money again. And this cross-cultural trip did not happen. So you say, yes, we're going to give this money to you, and when we ask for the money, it doesn't come to us.
I can't respond on
I mean, that has happened, and I'm sorry.
And I'm sure it will happen again.
Well, I can compensate. Well, we can't compensate for things that have happened in the past. What we're trying to do now is say we've come to you to tell you what we can do, and we want to work with you to make that happen.
You know, yesterday when we were in the meeting, you gave us 4 scenarios, and one of them was saying you wanted to grow the community and to get more jobs for the community. So if you want to get more jobs for the community, why are you going to fire them? Because you want at least 50 people, you're going to need to fire at least 50 people. And if you're trying to get more jobs, why are you going to fire the people that already have jobs? That's
No, we're not going to fire 50 people. Quite a lot of the reduction, which I fully understand and says, what we're doing, there are quite a lot of posts that are not filled. Okay? So that certainly in the youth offending service, we have posts which are there, which are not filled. So what we're saying is we're going to reduce the possible expenditure and have fewer people.
can I also say, if this is not true that you're not going to take 50 jobs there.
We're going to take the cost of 50 jobs away.
Okay, what's the point of writing it in here then?
That's because
why
we're
don't you write
taking
it
the
up?
costs of
Yeah,
58
but tell us
jobs
about it.
away.
But you said you don't know what you want to do with money and the budget and everything else. So how you-
We do know that we haven't got as much money, and therefore we have to focus on what we've got very carefully and what you can work with us to achieve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for taking us around the house as well.
Should we take a couple more questions? And I'm quite happy to stay here and then take individual questions. Yeah.
I thought I would tell you guys, yeah, that one of the reasons why there aren't as much people in the youth centre is because of the lack of funding. People before, I remember when I used to come here, they were providing training for people who wanted to become, who wanted to work in the youth service. And now that they haven't got the funding, they are unable to provide this training. And in turn, this is making the young people have a disadvantage because there's less help, less services. And then you guys want to complain and say that you're trying to enhance these services or bring more services, but it seems very contradictory, if you understand. And it's annoying because we didn't get ourselves in this situation. We've developed, Bruce Grover, as I said, have developed massively since I came here, and I've been coming here since I was young. It used to just be a cabinet at the back, and now look at it. And then to do this, it's like, it's only going to get us more upset.
No, it's very impressive what you've articulated and what you've said, because you're absolutely right to say where it was and where it's come to. And I think
that was through us.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
ourselves. We developed
And I guess
ourselves.
having the privilege
And now you guys are saying that all of this, and we do all of this ourselves. We can do all of these ourselves. And it just sounds very pointless.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if it's come across that, because what we're trying to do is to say, look, well, there is a commitment to the value of something like this. We've seen it firsthand and heard it firsthand. You want to be able to how can you increase the numbers? And what I think we're trying to say is we don't have the physical amount of money that there was in the system in 2008, 2009. So what we have got, we have to be very careful about how we use. But what we are saying, we value what this is. In terms of delivering a different way, it's not about changing how you do things from 4 till 8. But Kevin's absolutely right. It's a bit like schools. The real challenges on schools, they're open from 8 o'clock and then children go home at 3:30. But why can't they be operating just before school and as a community and absolutely up till 6 and 7? So it's not just youth centres that is saying how can you deliver it in a different way. And it's not about saying, at school, we're going to do it in a different way. But either side, the extended day, we can do it differently. And I think that's what we're saying is, look, it's not for us to come and say, you have to deliver it from 4 till 8 like this. But how can we enhance
it?
it?
People don't feel like they're being disadvantaged or anything like that, or any less attention is being paid to them, then it won't cause
Our young
such
people
bad-
are so important to us. I mean, my background is being head teacher, so I've been head teacher of three schools. I was talking, and some of you, and some of them out there I know, go to Gladesmore as well, so I was talking to Tony Hartney about Gladesmore today, school council, really passionate, writing a letter to the council and what they want to do about, obviously, the issues that you've raised. You know, for us working in children's and interested in children, it's actually about, you know, you are actually what's going to happen next. So education and youth provision and making sure you get the very, very best start in life, which coins a blinking phrase, I know, but actually we want to, you know, we're here to try and make the very best of that. That's why our schools, believe it or not, are the best in England. You know, secondary schools are top. I mean, you probably don't believe that, but they are, they're top. 100% of kids go to good and outstanding schools. How can we enhance and do that on the backdrop of some really challenging agenda items? So we are desperate to listen to you and desperate to do the very best.
As long as you promote that it's in the best interest of young people, then it would avoid all of this misunderstanding or whatever. Because you guys ain't clear that it's in the best interest for you, for us. It doesn't seem like it's in the best interest.
But I think that's a fair point, but we have to be quite careful because we are cutting the funding. We have to say we're cutting the funding and to say we're just working in the best interest. People then say to us, but you're lying because you're cutting the funding. So we try to be honest. I know, but we have to be.
To cut it. Now we understand.
Yes.
And like before, like all this false publicising is only gonna make people more angry.
Well,
and
we haven't done the false
things up.
publicising. I'm very sorry it's happened. And I'm very sorry that
You kind of have done false advertising because what you stated on your website about
Yeah, on the website.
we haven't said
it says
it's
false advertising.
true.
No, I didn't say that. I said you did make false advertising by saying that the youth clubs are not very popular and not used and they don't provide
They don't provide for that many people. And we need, that's what we need.
And I think the point you made about getting more people in how you might do
But
it.
then why don't you advertise it?